The FujiCast is an independent loading zone production.
3, 2, 1. Thursday, 30th of April.
The FujiCast.
That's yes, it is enough. Do you have any puff left?
No.
Well, Kev, look. 100. Just lean your head through the screen there by the magic of pop. Just let me pass you something across there. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Happy 100.
Lovely.
100 episodes. It is, well, in the past, what we probably would have done is we'd have been doing some sort of outside broadcast, probably at the House of Photography or maybe in Scotland, as was suggested recently. Wherever we'd have been out there. But we're actually in our own homes, over an hour's drive away from each other, recording the 100th episode. But we got there, and in a kind of genre, podcasting genre, where a lot of people don't get past 7. We got to 100, and we should be pretty damn proud of that.
Yeah, I'm really gutted we can't do anything a little bit more spectacular, but yeah, 100 is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did we get a letter from the Queen?
No. Captain Tom gets a letter from the Queen, but he's actually managed something slightly more impressive than our 100 podcast episodes. And also he's got number 1, of course, didn't he? He's got a number 1 record now as well.
Yeah,
hey?
Yeah, everybody's favourite granddad, or great-granddad, or great-great-granddad.
Great-great-great-granddad, yeah. So we've got something a bit different today. We will be doing the photo challenge, the daily photo challenge. I got a feeling it's probably going to be a number. I can see
whatever gave you that idea.
I can see a pattern emerging, and we'll look back through last week's as well. And but we thought rather than taking questions, we'd have a show of gratitude. So, is a show where we talk about where we talk about photography today? Yes, because this is a podcast where we talk about photography every single time we're on. But we're going to sort of wrap it around a lot of other things that we feel thankful for, and the gratitude that we have. So some of it will be photographic. Some of it's just going to be a bit left field looking at your list.
Can I just explain that about 2 hours ago, Neil emailed me and said, "Send me 50 things that you're grateful for. I need it now."
No, I did not. I sent it at 6:15 in the morning.
But that's the same thing, pretty much. A couple of hours ago.
Yeah, I did rather throw that. Well, this time yesterday, when we were thinking what should we do for the 100th episode, we still had no idea, did we?
No.
So the idea of this 100th podcast episode is to have a theme called gratitude, because frankly we would not have a show if it weren't for those who've listened, contributed, either by way of being an interviewee, or maybe come to one of the travelling shows, or attended one of the online mentoring courses, or sent in a question, or joined in with a Facebook group, or the FujiCast at 4 group, all that stuff. We have lots to thank you for and have gratitude for. So the way it is that Kev made a list of 50 things he feels gratitude for. I did 50 of my own. We've ended up with 100, of course, and we're going to pick at random subjects from that list that we're intrigued about and ask each other what they mean. We can't do all 100, of course, so at the end of the show we'll tell you where you can find them if you're interested, and so that's the way we're going to do it.
Okay.
Do you want? Shall I go first?
Sure.
The first one I'm going to pick it's got to be Gemma. Now, you cheated slightly here in that you got Gemma's hairdressing skills, Gemma's DIY skills, Gemma's plumbing skills, Gemma. Closely followed by Gemma's cheerful smile. Does she appear anywhere else on here? That's 5 of the 50.
Well, I was in a bit of a panic when I did this, and I did ask her to write down the first 5.
Closely followed by socks that fixed my itchy feet.
Yeah, it was good, that.
What is it about Gemma that you're thankful for? Obviously, I'm not sure you should be thankful for her hairdressing skills. Have you shared a picture yet?
Only to you. I look like somebody on death row.
Well,
Gemma was so desperate to cut my hair, and it got a bit bouffant over the last 5 weeks or so. Right. Bouffant, is that the right word?
Yeah.
And so she did. She sat me down last night. In she might as well have strapped me into a wooden chair and put electric pylons around my legs.
Right.
And she got my beard trimmer out,
Oh, you did it with a beard trimmer. Oh,
she stuck it on number 1.
Right.
And off she went. And about an hour later, I stood up and I nearly fainted.
Well, when you sent me the picture, I've been watching Louis Theroux in that big Alabama high max prison documentary. Yeah. And I was thinking, good God!
That's what Gemma said. She said,
Arizona,
like
not Alabama.
Arizona,
not Alabama. Sorry, what did Gemma say? She thought...
She said, I feel like one of those prison officers when you first come into the prison. Oh, God. And yeah, I tell you what, though, I feel I'm about a stone lighter.
Yeah. You see, it should be made illegal that if you have hair, you should not be allowed to trim it off, you see. People like me that don't have hair on their head look at people like you and think, no, Kev, no. Obviously, there are circumstances where people do want to shave their head, and I get that. But yours is not one of them.
And Git the dog started eating the hair on the floor as well.
God, he's coughing up hairballs today then. So what is it that's best about Gemma then? Hairdressing skills, DIY or plumbing?
Definitely not her hairdressing skills.
Or her cheerful smile?
No, everything about her. I think it's fair to say that she pretty much saved my life during a pretty rough period.
Yeah.
When we swapped husbands and wives, and that period of time. And so she's the thing that tells me what to do. She's the anchor in my sea, so to speak.
That's Gemma. Go on, then you can pick one.
Right, this is off your list, remember, so everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick typewriters.
Typewriters. All right, okay. Do you know that's the first life lesson I think I ever had was learning to type, and it's something that has been. My kids say, "Dad, how come you can type so quickly?" Like that, and they're ace when they do the sort of one finger thing on the screen of their smartphones. But I can beat them I can't beat them on anything else, but I can beat them on typing. And I remember my mum spending hours and hours and hours teaching me. She was a typist in what would have been called they used to call them typing pools, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
none of them were ever near any water.
No. She worked for a big insurance company in London, and she was in that typing pool, and she'd be typing all day long. Yeah, and those places. They must have been really difficult in a typing pool to even hear yourself. So and I remember we went through a big recession, and Dad's business really, really suffered from it. And I was thinking about that because of this particular situation we find ourselves in now. And I remember it got to Christmas, and Mum and Dad said, "Look, this year's a bit tricky. You're going to have to be very careful about what you choose." Really choose something that you really need, darling, not something that, just be careful. And so I don't know why I chose a typewriter, and that typewriter saw me through in the days before, during the war, when we didn't use word processors for sending off applications. That typewriter would have been the typewriter that typed the letter that I sent to all the radio stations when I first looked for work. It would have been the typewriter that I used to get to Lanzarote, typewriter that I used to get to Radio 1, and that typewriter now is in the kids' room, and occasionally they bang out a message on it.
You might have to use your typewriter to get to Lanzarote again, because I don't think we'll be going on any planes or boats soon.
No. And I don't mean I flew on the typewriter, you silly sausage. Anyway, I'm going to pick one from yours. Yeah, do you know, a lot of people are surprised about this. Although you talk about it quite openly on the podcast, but I'm going to throw, before I throw some photography ones at you, you've written as one of your gratitudes, my faith.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect you to throw that one at me, but yeah, it's important to me.
And Father Keegan, let's wrap them both into one.
Father Keegan was my first kind of parish priest that I remember. And he was a typical Irish whiskey drinking, cigarette smoking Catholic priest. And he was a good soul. He passed away when I was still at his church. Yeah. But he was always very kind to everybody, and me in particular, in fact, because he helped me when I was at school and I was having a lot of problems in school. He kind of went into the school and spoke to the headmistress and helped out with a lot of stuff. So yeah, he was very important. And generally faith, yeah. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm not here to kind of say what's right or wrong or anything, but for me it's important. And I think, the interesting thing about it is that, the reason why I said faith rather than religion or Catholicism or anything is because faith can manifest itself in many ways. Some people just have faith in in their partners, or they have faith in the world we live in, or they have faith in the trees, or they have faith in emotion and love, or whatever. And that's the important thing. I think if you believe in something, then believe in something that's good, then that will help you throughout your life.
Does your faith ever get challenged when terrible things happen, though? See, I'm not particularly religious, and I've used the R word. And I remember on my list I'd put churches, because I found a great amount of peace in these places, despite vicars openly sometimes not necessarily appreciating us as photographers. But I find them tremendously peaceful places. But at the same time, I find them very conflicted places. Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't challenge me in that respect, such as like what we're going through now, and a lot of people, and I've seen it, a lot of people are like, well, if there was a God, he wouldn't allow this to happen. And, I'm not one of those people that, I believe in evolution and, everything else. And so, I think they're two separate things. So ultimately, I don't believe that there is a finger pointing down from heaven saying, you will get this disease because you've been bad. And conversely, I don't believe there's a finger pointing up from hell saying, I'm going to get you with this disease. But I think, it's interesting. I was speaking to somebody the other day who I'm going to be doing a webinar with. And he was saying that, there's some kind of ethereal thing going on with Mother Nature, and, it's almost like Mother Nature was, we got all that lovely warm weather here at least. And it was like she was going, you know what? I know you're having a bit of a shit time down there, but I'm gonna cheer you up a little bit. And that can be faith in some respects. You can have faith in the world we live in, and that's it. So I really don't try and segment it into the good and bad.
All right then.
Okay, so another one off your list. We have Miss Bartlett.
Oh, Miss Bartlett. She was my first teacher. Yeah. John, I don't remember many of my teachers. I really don't. I remember Mr. Norbury, the art teacher. We've talked about him because he used to throw board rubbers with amazing accuracy. And I remember there was a teacher in junior school. He wouldn't get away with this now. I shouldn't probably say his name. I won't say his name. He shook me by the shoulders because I dropped a glass of water on the floor. When we were on a school visit to Bath, or it might have been York. But I remember Miss Bartlett because she was the first teacher in infant school, and you always remember your first teacher, or apparently your most important teacher, and that's the person their life skill. She was just very gentle, very kind, very welcoming. She was, if I could liken her to somebody, she would be Miss Honey out of what's that wonderful film?
I think you watch different films to me.
No, this is very Disney-fied. You'd love it. Oh, Matilda, out of Matilda.
Oh, right.
Have you ever seen Matilda? Miss Honey. No. Oh, I see what you were thinking about. Hang on a minute.
Don't be rude.
Absolutely, Donald. Get his head out the gutter. This is Miss Bartlett, for heaven's sake. Yeah, and I think that kindness and that generosity of spirit, I'm not sure if it's rubbed off on me for my whole life, but I remember that, and I remember her, and I remember that making school an existence that was very palatable. Certainly for the first few years.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Right, let's look at your list. Right, I've got to pick off one that's photography. Original Fujifilm X100. Come on.
Well, it's a known story, isn't it? It was the gateway into the Fujifilm thing for me, really, and that's led me to lots of very, very exciting places, including foreign countries and parties and things like that. But mostly, it's really did change my view on how I can take pictures. Yeah. And I think if it wasn't for that. And it could have been any mirrorless camera at the time, in fairness, but if it wasn't for that fact that I'd bought that camera, I really don't know whether I'd still be doing weddings.
You've often said that. Really? Do you think so? Were you that... What was it about the DSLR camera that just did not suit you or your personality?
I never got excited by them. I never got excited about picking them up. I never got excited about the types of images I was getting from them because I couldn't get in close enough and make the type of impact images that I like to make. So, I just never really felt I could do that with what was then huge DSLRs. Of course, they're a lot smaller now.
Yeah.
But so I think that was the thing. It took it to a wedding. It was rubbish, of course, in the beginning. But I knew that was where my direction was going to go, mirrorless, and it happened to be the Fujifilm system. Yeah. For which I am very grateful.
Actually, Mark Horner of Fujifilm is on your list. And I know I've gone for 2 of yours. Andreas is on there, of course, because he now, you have an awful lot of dealings with Andreas. But it was originally, before Andreas, it was Mark Horner, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Was Mark, yeah.
He's on your list.
Was the kind of original person that encouraged me to come into the fold, I suppose, in terms of the ambassador role. There was also a lady called Katie Teasdale, or Katie Ward, as she was then, I think. Both of Mark's moved on in Fujifilm, Katie's moved away from Fujifilm, and both of those were the ones I remember going to meet them for the first time, and I took a little book of wedding pictures. And they said, we really love those. We would like to use some of those images and see where we go from there. So those 2, and of course Andreas now is a friend and a helper to a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to pick a photography type one. I am going to go for Giles.
Giles. See, now, did you notice, by the way, that you came with Giles on 2 lines? I won't say who came first, but you were both next to each other on that list of important people. But Giles, I've met various people in my life that have had faith in my ability, and I think sometimes misguided faith. My dad, for example, who I will mention, despite him being on the list, used to have what I might call misguided faith in listening to hours upon hours upon hours of demo tapes that I used to make for radio stations when that was the industry I wanted to work in. And bless him, so patient. He would make the washing up and drying up. We didn't have a dishwasher or anything. He'd make that last forever so he could listen to like a 15-20 minute demo, half an hour demo. And it's that same ability that Giles has, that my dad had, that ability to listen for hours on end and then give advice without giving advice. Does that make sense? He would never change what you do, but he would always listen to photographically where you wanted to be, and then you'd say, well, I can't do that, and he'd say, yes, you can. And it wouldn't be just saying stuff for how some people say, no, you're brilliant, when they look at it and think, no, that's rubbish. He'd be honest if he thought there was something wrong with it. But without his faith in my photographic work, and I met him actually after I was working professionally. I'd been working professionally for a few years, but I think I was at a stage where I was feeling very much a visitor in photography and thinking, well, this is all right, isn't it? But I'm not really a photographer.
How did you meet him originally?
We went to see he had an exhibition called Skies at the local art centre. And I think I just reached out to him. It was. They've knocked it down. It was at the old Greenham Common Air Base. It used to be an old nuclear deterrent air base, and some of the buildings. I mean, the area is still there. It's now overgrown with grass, and there's cows walking around it. But there was an art centre there, and he was exhibiting there. And I saw his work, and I thought, wow, just pictures of skies. This guy spent 2 years taking pictures of skies. And I reached out. We became fond and firm friends from that moment onwards, really. Yeah.
He is a very nice guy.
Oh, he is. Yeah, very much. Yeah. All right, Kev, I'm going to go for another photography one soon, but first of all, I'm going to go for, it seems a bit self-indulgent, I know, but I'm going to go for podcasting, because prior to this experience, 100 episodes ago, to be absolutely honest, you'd not really listened to a podcast, had you?
No, I still don't listen to many.
So what is on your list of gratitude? Podcasting.
Well, in fairness, that was one Gemma suggested I put on there, and I thought, actually, yes, she's very right. It should be on there.
Oh dear.
But no, it's true, because it's it's opened my eyes and ears, I suppose, to, and I don't mean myself listening to other podcasts, but us podcasting. I think it's really made me kind of understand the connection of audio to people, and especially now during this lockdown period. I think that, we get individually, I know that you and I both get, lots of messages saying thank you so much, it's really helping and everything. So I think in that context, that's where that kind of fits. And also I really look forward to doing it. And the fact is, when you're working by yourself a lot as a wedding photographer or an ex-wedding photographer, then it's good to look forward to kind of going and doing stuff. And I quite like coming over to your studio and drinking your coffee and leaving my mess there, and writing on your pieces of paper and not putting the pens back and all that kind of stuff. I love that.
And walking off with the pens. I'm sure there's less pens here whenever you leave.
I just take them. I just throw them over the wall to the next door neighbour on the way out.
Oh, dear.
Okay, another one off your list. Then we'll go a little bit wider, I suppose. In that case, a very bizarre one. I thought mint.
Mint. Oh, it's going to be a very short one, actually, and it's very easy. It's going to be really short. It's one of those. It's one of those smells from my childhood. Mum used to grow mint. And if I smell mint, I'm instantly taken back to being, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old. And that's simply it. I mean, I wouldn't say that, I don't cover my food with mint or anything, but I do like mint. But it's a childhood smell. One of those things.
Yeah, your olfactory sense, which is your smell, is the most memorable of them.
Is it?
So if you smell something and it has an attachment, you will be taken back immediately. You don't scrabble about in your brain thinking, what was that? What was that? Generally, when you smell something that has an attached memory, you go instantly to it. Yeah, your olfactory sense is the most instant memory maker.
Well, I nearly put down Dickie's Donuts instead of mint, because Dickie's Donuts was a donut stall in where was it, Swanage in Dorset, and that had a most amazing smell. I was like, oh, Dickie's Donuts.
Well, no, technically you got 51 on your list. I want another one.
Well, no, I'm not going to I nearly put it down. I went for mint instead. I'm just going to mention Dickie's Donuts, though, because they were amazing. Right, Argentina. What a great place. Love it. Been there a few times now. First time I went, I think that the first marriage had effectively come to an end on like a Monday or something. And on the Thursday, after 4 solid days of feeling sorry for myself, my friend rang me up. He went, "What are you doing on the weekend, Kev?" I said, just feeling sorry for myself, I suppose. He said, "You want to go to Argentina?" And I thought, yeah, all right, why not? So we did that afternoon. We flew to Buenos Aires. We went to watch Wales. Wales were on tour over there at the time. I managed to get some tickets from a friend of mine who was Tom Shanklin, who was playing for Wales at the time. So he managed to get us some tickets for the matches, and we flew. And we had the cheapest route we could get was we flew from Heathrow to Amsterdam. Then we flew from Amsterdam to Brasilia. Then we flew from Brasilia to Buenos Aires. And it was something like 21-hour journey, something like that, with the layovers and everything. God, you could have gone to Australia.
Oh, it was incredible. And I never forget that flight between Brasilia and Buenos Aires. We were the only people on the flights. 3 of us went, sorry.
Did that not make you feel slightly nervous? Why is nobody else getting on this?
It was the noisiest aeroplane. It honestly felt like everything was just going to fall off it.
Yeah.
And I was just like quivering. And then we got to Buenos Aires, and of course everybody's suitcases turned up apart from mine.
Oh no!
And so I had no clothes. And that was a very, very fun. That was the time when my mum rang me up because she'd seen me on the telly and I was drinking or whatever, and in the crowd, and my mum rang me up on the phone. "You drinking? I can see you on Sky Sports."
But then you went back to Argentina, didn't you? You went back to speak on stage. And
went to the FDF festival,
and that was bittersweet though, wasn't it? Because there was part of that where you just didn't want to be there.
I was struggling at the time, I think, with the kids were really young and everything, and it was a week away. So yeah, that was tough. But yeah, it's I made a point of spending a couple of days in Buenos Aires and not doing anything apart from walking. And I remember going to this place. I can't remember what it's called now. Cemetery. It's got Eva Perón is buried there. It's essentially this mausoleum of the mostly rich and famous people from Argentina, and you just go in there and you walk around, and these tombs, a lot of them are glassed fronts, and you can see the coffins, and they go down and up, and they're huge. I remember going there. That was amazing. But yeah, I love Argentina. I love the people. I love the country. I love the Spanish element to it. Really like Argentina.
Didn't you discover red wine in Argentina?
Well, yeah. I mean, I had a lot. I think it's unfair to say I'd not had red wine beforehand.
All right, okay.
But yeah, red wine was a major feature.
Yeah.
Of that.
And
Malbec.
And in the days when you used to eat, I think you could get a steak and wine meal for about £1.50 or something.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that first time we went, I forgot about that. We went, and I had loads of tickets for the game. Well, about 5 or 6 tickets. And so we went to this restaurant, and it was like the best Argentinian restaurant you could find, steak restaurant. And there was 3 of us at the dinner table. We had 3 wine waiters each that just stood there as attendants, waiting to fill our glasses up. We went upstairs and had port and cigars on the roof terrace. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then we got chatting to one of the waiters who happened to be leaving as we did because they were kicking us out. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, my son really likes rugby, but we can't afford the tickets or anything." And I just went, "Da-da! Here's 2 tickets."
Oh wow!
He came and picked us up and took us, and because it was in the stadium's in pretty rough end of Buenos Aires, so we had to go through all of the favelas and the kind of shanty towns, if you like. So he kind of took us there and made sure we got there and brought us back and everything. So it was great. Yeah, lovely place.
Well, let's have another. I think we've got time for another one each. Go on then.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to a little bit towards photography for you. I'm going to pick Joe Buissink.
See, now I almost put down Jeff Ascough.
I put him down.
You put him down, and Jeff Ascough would be a massive inspiration to me. Do you remember we went to go and see Jeff Ascough talking? I think it was Watford, wasn't it? And he was supposed to have Joe Buissink talk. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was the Icelandic Air thing, wasn't it? So he couldn't get here.
Yeah, and so he couldn't get there. But I'd been doing a little bit of studying of Joe, and I'd seen a few things about him. In preparation for seeing him talk with Jeff, and when he didn't show, I think I was quite disappointed. However, no, it was a great couple of days watching Jeff, of course. But then I remember getting the opportunity to see Joe when he came back over to do some talks at what would have been the photography show before it was a photography show. It was something else, wasn't it?
Focus on Imaging.
Focus on Imaging. So he spoke there, and he also spoke, I think, in Bristol as well, which I think you went to as well, didn't you, with me?
Yeah, it was a road show, wasn't it? I think it was Jorgensen or
that's right. Yeah.
One of the album companies, yeah.
And, listening to Joe Buissink talk about photography and his passion for it completely changed the way that I spoke to customers from that day onwards. The pitch that I now have that I pitch towards clients when they come here is based entirely on just the beauty of Joe's ability to talk with real passion, and passion, such an overused word these days, but talk with real passion about photography, but moreover to talk about people with more passion, because that's what Joe left me with. He left me with this feeling that photography was really important, but actually people were far more important, and that's what made him want to do photography. And it completely changed the way that I approached weddings as well. I'd been photographing weddings because they were weddings, but now I was photographing weddings because there were people there. And I credit Joe all the way down the line for that.
P-mode shooter as well. Joe, go Joe.
He was, wasn't he? Or he is. He's still a shooter.
He is, yeah.
Right, I'm going to pick one off yours. Is this the last one then? Or should we do one more each?
We can keep going. I don't know. People might have fallen asleep by now.
All right, we'll do one more. This is the last one. This is your one. By the way, these lists. Should we put these lists up on? In fact, no. We've got to mention something in a moment. So yes, we will be putting them up, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to talk about. I want to wrap them into one really. I mean, you've got Rosa's baking skills and Albie's chess skills. But I'm gonna wrap them all in one lovely bundle, like I would my kids, Jack and Thomas.
Well, we can actually wrap them up into one lovely bundle because Rosa, it's Albie's birthday on Tuesday, and Rosa, I hope he's not listening. Albie's not listening, I don't think. She's gonna make him a chess cake that looks like a chessboard with pieces. Yeah.
Shh! Don't say anything.
Yeah, so Albie and Rosa. I mean, they have been amazing, honest to God, during this. They have been absolutely incredible. They, Rosa, of course, Rosa's like nearly 12, I think. Yeah. She's in a couple of weeks. She's 12.
Yeah, she's
Albie's still only 8.
Same as Jack.
Albie's 9 on Saturday, but so there's there's like a 3 or 4 year gap, but the fact that they're he absolutely adores her and she looks after him so much. So last night, for example, he really wanted to build a den in her bedroom and sleep under it. And she's sometimes she's like, I just want to watch Friends when I go to sleep tonight, Albs, do you mind? And in the end, she caves, because they get on so well. The first thing I hear in the morning, honestly, it's the first thing that it wakes me up every day is them absolutely howling with laughter at something. and that's what wakes me up every single day.
What do they laugh about? What sort of stuff?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever they're doing. Sometimes this morning they were just laughing at me and my new head. We go after Gemma did the surgical operation on my head last night. She called the kid. They were asleep. She said, "I've got to get them up. They've got to come and see."
No, she didn't wake them up to come down and see convict dad, did she?
And they came down. Albie came down first, and he literally like nearly threw himself back up the stairs in shock.
Oh my God!
And then Rosa came down and like was chuckling away, and at that point. Monty walked into the room and even he double took. He looked at me and looked away and looked back again really quickly.
I'm not having anything to do with that. Even Monty or Git, as he's known these days, gave up on you.
Get the dog. So the kids they've been great, and I have to say we've so far, touch wood, been really lucky with the way they've got on, and long may that continue.
Boys and girls, I don't know. Do they get on better by default? Because I know that our two lads. I mean, I know they love each other, but boys can sometimes be just a little bit more challenging towards each other.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's what I hear from other friends as well. I mean, I had a sister. I had a sister who was 5 years older than me, so a little bit more distance. Well, still have a sister, of course. Yeah. We got on really well, I think, until Linda got to kind of those mid-teenage years, and then I was still only 9 or 10 at that time, so we kind of drifted slightly. But I mean, I got on really well with my sister. I still do.
All right, so I think we should do this.
The Daily Show Photo Challenge.
Right, the last couple of days of this, and then we have a new challenge next week, which invites you to send in a picture through click at FujiCast.co.uk that we can then use as the caption competition. But last week, of course, for the Daily Photo Challenge, what did we have this time last week?
So last week, which was the 23rd of April, I asked you to take a picture of just one thing that you would grab from the house if it was on fire.
Yeah.
And we did stipulate that pets and people were not included.
No,
so all of you that put pets
safe.
And people on there?
Yeah.
You got it wrong. There's lots of good stuff on there, though. Surprisingly, quite a lot of cameras and things like that. There was a box of family heirlooms from Simon Berry, which included what looks like a George Cross and some very nice antique kind of watches and everything like that. Chris O'Sullivan, oddly, the thing that he would save if his house was on fire is his tripod.
Tripod?
Yeah, tripod. Lots of guitars and musical instruments, which is pretty relevant. Pascal Diamond, you failed miserably, I'm afraid, because you said your LP collection and put a picture up of your LP collection.
No,
I'm guessing there's about 500 records there.
One. You just got to pick the one record.
Just one, yeah, just one. It could be Bjork, could be whatever.
Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run. That's what I'd save.
Band on the Run, yeah, that was on your list, wasn't it? Wings, Band on the Run. Yeah. David Colopy would grab his motorbike. I'm not sure if that's going to be in your house when it's on fire, though, David. So disqualified, I'm afraid.
Unless he's got a very understanding partner who says, "Yeah, Dave, bring the bike in. No worries at all. Park it down there."
I am going to go for Adrian Franklin's picture, which is technically one object because it's a photo album with lots of pictures in it.
Yeah.
And it's his granddad's album that he made up of pictures, letters, leaflets, memorabilia from his time in the army during the Second World War, and things like that. Memories, nostalgia. You can't replace those, can you?
Absolutely. A round of applause for that one. A very wise decision. Right.
Yes.
So I see a theme appearing this week with a daily photo challenge. There's only 2 more left. Should I guess what you're going to choose today?
Yes. So Monday we had the number 1. Tuesday we had the number 2.
Yes.
Wednesday we had the number 3.
We did. So Thursday.
We're going to have number 100.
Oh, yes. That makes much more sense.
100. You see what I did there?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 100.
You get it? It's because it's the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Should I email you and explain?
No, I did get that.
Okay.
I was expecting
100.
I was expecting
so 100
4.
is your theme for today.
Yes.
A picture that has something to do with 100 in it. Whichever way you want to describe it.
By the way, when do the daily episodes end?
Oh, I don't know.
Is there a kind of rule around it? Because everybody's lockdowns, not everybody's, but a lot of people's lockdowns are now starting to they're starting to calm down and people are being allowed out a little bit more, and ours will come. When do we just go back to Mondays?
I don't know, but do you want me to tell you how many dailies we've done?
Yeah.
Since this started?
Yes.
Today, on our 100th episode, will be our 43rd episode in the daily routine.
Wow.
In a trot. 43 daily episodes,
43
one after the other.
In a row.
And do you know how I know that?
Because you counted them?
Because we've got a new website.
I know, Kev.
Yep.
So come on then, spill the beans. Tell us all about it.
On the 100th episode of the FujiCast, we have taken it upon ourselves to revamp the website completely. So you'll have to go to fujicast.co.uk to see it. The most important thing to remember is that the episodes will, over time, but the most recent ones are already filled, will have a lot more content, such as YouTube and links and videos and audio and all that kind of other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all archived and categorized, so you can click on the interview section if you just want to listen to episodes with interviews. You can click on the names of the people to get to their content.
Also, you can search for anybody you want as well.
You can search, you can find a whole load more information on there. And it will be, I'm about to make an enormous decision here.
Right, okay.
It will be the only place tomorrow that you can see a picture of me with my new head.
Warning.
It is not going on Facebook.
You're not seriously going to put... Are you going to put that up? Are you really going to put that up online?
Only for people who come to episode 100 tomorrow on the today on the FujiCast website.
Today. Don't give the radio secrets away. Oh, hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on. Sorry, the phone's across the room. Hold on, Kev. Hold on. Hello? Yeah. Oh, right. You were listening downstairs, were you? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes, it is on his list. Yeah. It's about 2/3 the way down. Well, we have actually finished doing them, Gemma. You should... you want me to... well, it makes the show a little bit... oh, okay. No, you're in charge. All right. See you later. Bye. She wants one more question. She wonders why on your list of things you show gratitude toward, that there is something on there, a girl called Sally.
Oh yeah, Sally. No, Sally. Well, you have first loves on your list.
I did, but I didn't name them.
Well, Sally, I never loved Sally.
First loves were also my pets, by the way.
Well, Sally was the first girl that,
Who wants to know what Sally was the first girl to do? Well,
nice girl.
Should we move on?
I think we should.
See you tomorrow, Kev.
We will have the lists, by the way, on the website also tomorrow.
Yes.
The only place you can see them.
Best place is the website. That won't be on Facebook. That'll be on the website. See you tomorrow, Kev.
Bye bye.
Sam, my mum and dad, Thomas, Louis Garvan, Jack, Father Keegan, Mum and Dad, London Welsh Rugby Club, Chocolate, Across Film Simulation, Australia, a little chat in a roof bar in Tokyo with Zach Arias, air travel, knowing that Bill Gates owes me money, the beach, my faith, coffee shops, judo,